Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning. I want to thank everyone for coming out today and standing with us on this major issue that HISD is having on school finance. This is something that's been going on, and now it's going to come to the head. And they are wanting to use it on cutting our custodians and our bus drivers and our food service employees. They want to cut the whole custodian department out and have the school clean 3 times a month. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to have maggots and flies, everything running all in the schools. Even just cleaning the school once a day, they can't keep the school clean. With this flu out, kids going to be sick everywhere, and it's just pathetic. We're going to ask HISD to take a look at their budget and leave the working poor people alone. They need to cut that fat from the top. You cut it from the top. If they can't get this budget together, they haven't got it together in many years. They haven't got the leadership they have in here. I know it's a whole different leadership department they have, but right now we are in a crisis, and we have some of our state reps here also that we'll reach out to them that in Austin, try to help us get this state funding fixed for our schools in Texas. You can, I think if you remember, about 10 years ago, the union sent a message out to HISD. They quit putting band-aids on the artery, because one day the band-aid gonna come off, and the band-aid have came off. It's off now, and all the wasting is from the top, from the bottom, and they want to cut from the bottom to the top, and that's not right. So we got some of our friends here from our state representatives that's going to be helping us in Austin to get a policy put together with this Robin Hood. I want to ask Senator Harold Dutton to please come. Come on, my cousin.
State Representative Harold Dutton, yeah, thank you. Good morning to you all. I'm joined by two of my colleagues, and I'm pleased to see them. Let me say, as the longest serving member in the history of Texas on the Texas House Public Education Committee, I will start with saying we from the state legislature do not put enough money into public education. That's an admission that nobody can get around, and nobody can argue with that. But at the same time, I sympathize with HISD. I sympathize with them in having to make all of these cuts they're proposing. But most of my sympathy is with these workers, because HISD has not talked to them about how to make sure that they continue doing what they do. And they do a fantastic job of keeping our schools clean and doing all these other things. But let me say, if HISD talks to them, what they'll find out is what we have all known for a long time. That is, for example, if you have only 3 pork chops and 5 kids, you don't get rid of 2 kids. No, you don't get rid of 2 kids. You do what my mother did, and everybody's mother did, and most of the custodians' mothers do. They take the meat off the bone, put a little bread with it, and mix it up, and then everybody has 2 pork chops. And so what I'm suggesting to HISD is, before they make these proposals that are absolutely horrendous to people and affect people's lives and affect students' lives, and it will have a disastrous effect on the schools, why don't they talk to the people who are most affected by it? If they will talk to them, they'll find out that there may be some other solutions that aren't nearly as impactful as what they are proposing to do now. Let me say this, thanks to Retha and thanks to all the union folks, because this is a fight we've got to win. And we've got to win it not only for the people who are workers, but especially for the children in HISD.
Thank you very much. I see one of our board members. I want to ask her to come up and speak. Rhonda Skiller.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you for inviting me and shining light on the issue.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had a whole lot of engagement, so this bringing light to this is appreciated. Everyone knows that I have always supported our unions, our blue-collar workers. I was born and raised to union parents who supported the union, and I always vote with the union. I would like to say we have parents that are saying, do not take this $208 million deficit that we have out of our classrooms. Do not rob our children out of our classrooms. And our unions need their jobs. So they're saying, do not take it out of people and salaries. Where do we take it from? Can't come from the board because we make zero. Everybody's going to have to suffer some cuts. What I came today is to say to the state of Texas, it is egregious that we write a $238 million check back to the state of the taxpayers' dollars that the taxpayers give to us to pay these people and to educate our kids. That's where the problem is. And I am really tired of being heaped on by people who, A, keep re-electing the people that vote for these budgets, the people that took these cuts in the first place, and the people that are taking $5 billion of your tax money every year to supplant into their budget so that they can take that money that's intended for kids and reroute it somewhere else. Now, that's an issue. If we didn't have to write that $238 million check and the $320 million one next year and the plus 400 one the next year, then we wouldn't have to make any of these cuts. We have primaries coming up and we have elections in November. Remember, because our children are suffering, our citizens are suffering, this money coming from these cuts that we're going to have to make, those are people's lives. And a lot of these people are also our parents, so our kids are losing not once but twice. If you come to my house, take away 40% of my income, ask me to write a check to help pay my neighbor's bill, how do I then sustain my own household? It's not possible. So that's what needs to happen, is the money needs to stay here so that we can continue to educate our kids and we can continue to pay the people that change the light bulbs, clean the restrooms, feed our kids, drive them to school every day. Those are essential services. Essential services. And I want the City of Houston to understand that while we can't just maintain these same services, we are working every day. Every day. I'm here, go to my job, then I come here. I haven't seen my kids in a few days. We are working every day to first do the least harm and then address the needs. The budget, we've gone through 14 iterations already. It's evolving every day until we get a final product that we feel is equitable, fair, and at least meets the needs of this district. But that is difficult to do on a shoestring budget. So we ask everyone to be patient with us until we get this worked out. And then when the legislature meets again, please make your voices heard. We have got to stop doing a disservice to our kids. Texas is better than that.
Thank you. We're going to ask Carol. Yeah, Carol Brown.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to be here with my union brothers and sisters, and let me thank Chairman Dutton for all of his work, many years on the Education Committee, and Rhonda for your leadership on the school board. You know, our school board members are some of the most valuable public servants because, yes, you don't get paid, and we don't make much more money than you do because you don't make any at all. But let me tell you something. You're right. The Band-Aid is off.
It's off.
And now what we have is an exploited wound. But that wound has not just been growing over the last couple of years. This is something that has been festering for decades because the Texas legislature has failed to fix the way we educate, the way we fund our public schools.
That's right.
This last session, the House, in a very bipartisan way, sent a bill over to the Senate, House Bill 21, that was a good start to addressing the inadequacies of the way we fund our public education system. Now, what happened over there in the Senate, I can't explain, but other than to say politics got involved, vouchers got involved, and what they sent back to us is something that we could not support. We have got to take politics out of the way we fund our public education system. It has no business in it. When people run for office and they say, vote for me, I'm the education candidate, I'm all for education, well, of course everybody's going to say that. But the proof is in the pudding. The proof is when you cast that vote. And are you willing to have the political will to take those votes? Or to say, you know what, we've got a healthy rainy day fund, why don't we dip into that? And let's put more in public education so that our school districts don't have to face these drastic changes that are going to have to be made. The people that are standing here, the bus drivers, the people that clean our schools, that maintain our facilities, it's not their fault. They're getting caught up in the partisan politics that continues to divide this state. And enough is enough. Our kids deserve better. Our kids deserve to have leaders that are willing to take those difficult positions. We're all in this together. It's not just HISD. There are other school districts across the state. And I hope that others, like the folks standing here with us today, are organizing and shaming those elected officials that do not take those brave steps and say, enough is enough. We don't need sound bites. We need action, and we need action today. Our Texas children deserve better. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all right. Fred Ann, come up.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is an honor to be here today with Rita, Hanny, our brothers and sisters in labor, to stand with them in this fight. And as my legislative colleagues have mentioned, this is a problem in the Texas legislature. But I want to go further and say, those of us that are here, we support more funding for public education. We have voted for more funding for public education. What has happened is the Republican leadership has held us hostage in saying you'll get it, but only if we can add vouchers to it, and we will say absolutely not to vouchers. And so we will continue fighting for public education for those neighborhood schools. We had a wonderful meeting this morning talking about how important those community schools are and how that is the foundation for strong communities. And so that's what we all want to support. Schools in our communities where communities can come together, support one another, have excellent staff. The issues that we're talking about today, our custodial staff, our bus drivers, that's an integral part of making sure that our schools are running and that they're performing at top levels. We want to make sure that our children get to school safely, and our bus drivers are doing a great job of that, and make sure that our schools are safe and clean. So we don't want to extend janitorial services, especially right now in one of the worst flu seasons that we've had in years. The job that they do, to some may seem it's not that important, but it is critically important to make sure that we have healthy students in school that are ready to learn. So I know HISD has a difficult position, and I thank our board leadership for the work that you are doing, but we're just here to support our brothers and sisters in labor and let them know that their job is also important, that we will continue fighting for them in the legislature, continue fighting for more funding for public education, and continue fighting for our working families and for our children. Thank you very much.
We're going to ask Erica Lee. Come on, next. Erica Lee.
Hello, my union brothers and sisters. I'm honored to be with you. I'm a former teacher, and I'm serving on the Harris County Board of Education. And loco parentis, When a child steps on the bus, when they enter a classroom, it's in place of parent. You are told you are caring for that child as if the parent were there. What do parents do? They maintain the health and safety first. You cannot learn if you are not healthy and if you are not safe. 3 miles in some neighborhoods may be fine, but in others, how many toils and snares, gangs, and other tragedies might a child have to avoid if the bus routes are lengthened? Our school is not only the flu, what about asthma? We have children that are in cancer treatment, that have autoimmune diseases. Try keeping your 4-family home place clean by yourself. That's a challenge, let alone an 1,000-child school. It is totally unacceptable, and I thank these legislators for all their fight for working for public education, but I personally call out Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. This is a rainy day. Hurricane Harvey hit. The schools were flooded. The homes were flooded. The teachers were flooded. We deserve money from that rainy day fund. This absolutely will not stand. It is not conservative to cut money on the backs of our children. They have no choice. You want them to have bootstraps. You say they can build their dream. Well, not if you cut their schools. Not if you cut their lives. Not if you cut their bootstraps at all. They need the shoes. They need the bootstraps. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Governor Abbott, give it to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, Jennifer.
I'm Jennifer Renee Poole. I'm candidate for State Representative 138. And Austin is broken, but we can fix it. I want to thank all of y'all to be out here. 40 years ago, the conservative movement started spreading the myth that public schools are broken. And they know how to fix it. Let private enterprise fix it. Well, they didn't remember the fact that public education has built the strongest nation in the world. We put the world on wheels and in the air, and we put men on the moon. Public education did that. We need to fund public education. They need to have the money necessary that none of these people get laid off. It's important that we all work and strive to get the legislature to fund education properly. I'm a product of public education. We had enough money then. We still do now if it's put in the right place. Remember, Austin's broken and we can fix it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask our friend Allison Lamb to come up. It's a whole hard name to pronounce.
Thank you so much. My name is Allison Lamb Sawyer. I'm a Democrat candidate for Texas House 134. Texas House 134 currently held by a Republican, Sarah Davis. And we've been hearing a lot of messages today, and today I want to just say we're coming for you. We see you. Back in 2010 when the Tea Party took over the Republican Party and swished it all far right, they started making these huge cuts to public education, billions of dollars of public education cuts. And our property taxes went up and up and up, especially in my district. And then all of us here, we're engaged. We know the facts. We know our property taxes went up because the state cut public school funding. And we had to make up for it because we're not going to let Houston kids fall behind. So we stepped up as a city. We stepped up as a city. But the state has let us down because we keep having representatives put politics over the city, putting politics over our fellow Houstonians. And enough is enough. The blue wave is coming. It is coming in November because we see you, we know what you're doing, and we're taking our power back. So every flippable seat, including 134, is going Democrat, and we're going to put our foot down. The state has got to fund public school funding. We see you, we know what you're doing. Our property taxes can't go up any higher. The state has got to start doing its part. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Allison Lamb Sawyer, Democratic candidate, and we're coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, our Henny come in from the AFL-CIO.
Good morning. I'm Henny Khalil, Executive Director of the Texas Gulf Coast Area Labor Federation, AFL-CIO. I want to thank all of the state representatives and senators and local officials who are here today. And let me just review who they are again, starting with, first of all, Retha Thomas, President of the Houston Education Support Personnel. And all the members of HISD that are out here today fighting for their jobs and for our children. Representative Harold Dutton for House District 142. HISD Board Chair Rhonda Skillern-Jones. Ana Hernandez, State Representative for House District 143. Carol Alvarado, State Representative. Erica Lee Carter, Harris County Department of Education. Jennifer Renee Poole, candidate for Texas House District 138. Allison Lamai Sawyer, candidate for Texas House District 134. We also have representatives from Senator Boris Miles' office here today, as well as State Representative Alma Allen. Did I miss anyone? Congressman Al Green's office is here too. Thank you for joining us. Anybody else? Okay. And Fran Watson, who is running for Senate District 17. Thank you for joining us. Democratic candidate. So I think it's all been said today. I just want to emphasize one point. I myself am a teacher, taught in HISD public schools for 9 years, member of the Houston Federation of Teachers. Let me tell you, to be able to teach well, we need our kids to be able to focus on education. I can't teach, our teachers can't teach, if we don't have enough bus drivers getting our kids to school on time. I can't teach if the trash is piled up outside my door. We can't do that. Schools are ecosystems, and you start messing with one part of that ecosystem, the whole thing falls apart. So we need to recognize that the working people that are here today, the men and women that drive our buses, that clean our schools, are vital parts of our education system, as much as teachers and others as well. So we need to make sure we're looking out for them. That is looking out for our kids. So we're asking HISD, within the constraints of the very difficult budget challenges they face, make sure that you are talking to the folks who are going to be directly impacted by the decisions you're making. Make sure their voices are at the table. That's what we're asking, and we know you will fight for that. That's what we're asking for the HISD school board to do. And we are calling upon the state legislature to do what they need to do, which is to put money into the public education system. Instead of robbing it from our kids, where 90% of our kids are on free and reduced lunch, we should not be sending extra money away from the kids who need it. We are taking food out of their mouths. And that's why we're here today. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to let Retha Thomas close us out.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today, standing us with, so we know what the problem is. They need to take politicians out of public education and do what they're supposed to be doing. And to turn our schools back around, our kids can be equal battles from all zip codes matters. And it's at a point where one zip code get more gravy and the other zip code get no gravy. So we got to fix this thing so everybody gets some gravy. You might not get a pork chop, but everybody gets some gravy. And I want to thank my other union brothers and sisters from HISD, Hector, Cecilia, and Secretary and Chris from TWU for coming and standing with us. We have to do this. We have to do this together. And before it's Rhonda, wait, Rhonda come up here. Rhonda? Thank you. Harold? Hanny? Come on, Erica. You too. Y'all never know what I'm going to say, do you? They always know what she's going to say now. I'm going to ask, y'all come over here too. And I'm going to ask all my HISD members to come over here. Stand up here with me. And I want everybody to join hands. Give me Rhonda. I want to put one in your hand. Y'all hold your hand up. We're going to fix this. No more Band-Aids. 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 We got to get this thing fixed. We got to get this. We got our state here. We got a school bus. We got to fix it. Because we don't want to be out here next year with bus drivers don't have no legs. Teachers don't have no arms. The board members is under pressure trying to get something done. It's impossible. The state legislature have made a commitment that they're going to fix it.
Clean it up.
Gotta clean it up. Gotta clean it up.
Fix it.
Fix it. Fix it.